Pew pew! This next-gen demo is presented by State Farm.
All right, Rev 3 Games at E3 here at the Vivid Touch booth. So we're about to talk about a game that probably was the biggest surprise of last year and really one of those wonderful experiences. That's The Walking Dead.
Thank you.
I'm joined by Harrison Pink, one of the designers, both on last year's game and the upcoming 400 Days.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
So, did you guys know what you were onto with The Walking Dead? That you had something very special that would be one of the most discussed and talked about games of 2012?
I think we caught on pretty quickly. You know, everyone at Telltale that works on The Walking Dead is such a huge fan, from the writers, designers, cinematic artists, testers. Everyone just really loves the comic, loves the show, loves everything about it. So we caught on pretty quickly that this is really like loyal to the series and to what Walking Dead is, and also it's really interesting and unique, and I don't think I've seen anything like this in a video game before, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was, affecting is, finds the tough word to say.
Totally.
Affecting is the easy one to say.
Definitely.
Well, let's go take a look at 400 Days. But what I'm curious is, what did you learn and what from doing last season?
Right.
And what you want to hold on to for this one, and maybe some elements that you want to pull back from?
You know, I don't think we really pulled back on anything. We just wanted to add more. You know, we wanted to just kind of push, Telltale wanted to push what an adventure game can be. The sort of difficult moral choices of the gray area, there's no right or wrong, everything's kind of a crummy situation to be in, with stuff that really, we noticed, like you said, affected people really, really deeply. We wanted to keep pushing what that could mean. So we wanted to do one episode with 5 short stories and give you 5 tastes of what that could be like. And you can play them in any order you want, these different chapters.
No, that's interesting. Obviously, last season was very, you really want to play one, then the next, and the next.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go in that way? Does that give you more room to experiment?
Yeah, it was very much an experimental sort of art house piece almost. You know, we really wanted, like I said, Telltale wants to push what an adventure game, the format of what that like interactive narrative can be. So we thought, why not try the short story sort of Pulp Fiction format where we have 5 characters that all of their chapters sort of intertwine in interesting ways. The choices you make in one chapter might affect another chapter in an interesting way.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Absolutely, yeah.
But once again, you don't have to worry too much about the order. So,
nope, not at all.
Do all 5 stories happen simultaneously?
They take place, as the name 400 Days, they take place at different periods in the first 400 days of the zombie apocalypse. So one of the first chapters we're showing off the Telltale booth here at E3 is a chapter of, the protagonist's name is Vince, and his story takes place on day 2. There's stories that take place in like the 40 days, 100 days, sort of 250 days in, and they all sort of center around a central location of this sort of truck stop, this pit stop. So they sort of all kind of cross the same physical location in different times, and so that's how you can kind of say, oh, you know, I noticed something that I did in the last chapter is still present. You know, you can see your effect on the world and on other chapters.
Now, how do you keep it fresh, though? I mean, it's going to be dour.
Man, yeah.
But how do you, like, you don't get like, okay, this is just another sort of horrible moment. I mean, it is all narrative, and you can tell a new story, but how do you sort of reinvigorate it that it is a story that's very distinct from what was told before?
Another great question. Man. So I think Robert Kirkman has come up with so many interesting scenarios. There's no end to what you can do in The Walking Dead. You know, as long as you have the interesting inter-character drama, you can have that play out in any number of ways. So we just kept trying to come up with scenarios that are interesting to us as writers and designers. What would you do in that situation? And a lot of times when we get into the writer's room and argue, like, no, there's no, only an idiot would do that. Only an idiot would, you know, shoot that guy or like do that thing. And then the other half goes, no, absolutely, of course you do that thing. And we go, okay, this is a really good moment. We need to put this in the game because nobody can really agree on what the right way to go is. So we just sort of pull on those sorts of tug on those strings, you know?
So one thing I want to check is, are you still receiving notifications that you made a decision that's going to have some impact? Because I thought that was one of the most effective.
Yeah.
That was brilliant in Walking Dead.
Yeah, you know, when we first started doing it, it became apparent very quickly that was such a potent tool to tell a story and like give you an idea of what people are latching onto. So that sort of like characters remember what's going on is absolutely present in 400 Days. And in fact, I should mention that your choices through season 1, if you still have your save file, will affect 400 Days.
Oh wow!
Absolutely.
Okay.
And choices in 400 Days can affect season 2 when we get to season 2.
It's a great business plan, and I think it'll be very, very satisfying. So it's coming out very soon on every platform, including the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah. So it's going to be out on every platform that season 1 is currently on in July. Okay. And there's going to be a special PlayStation Vita bundle, which is season 1 content, the entire season 1 and 400 Days bundled together, and it's coming out in August.
All right, I'm going to go buy myself some hankies. Thank you so much.
Absolutely,
for your time.
my pleasure.
Rev 3 knows games, and State Farm knows insurance. They've got agents available 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit statefarm.com to find an agent and get to a better state.